Does Warzone Mobile works better on Android as compared to iOS? This is one of those questions which everyone is asking since the first soft launch. And in this video, we are going to answer that question. So for comparison, we are using iPad Pro 2020 as an iOS device. And for Android, we are using Samsung Galaxy A73 5G. You guys might be thinking it is kind of unfair to compare an iPad with an Android device. But for now, we only have these devices at our hand. And since the benchmark difference isn't that much, so you can see the benchmark difference isn't that much. iPad benchmark is around 30% more than Android, and it isn't that much. So now let's jump back into the comparison. So first of all, let's see how long will it take to open both cams on Android and iOS. So let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so the game is open on iOS and Android at almost the same time. Since there was only the internet issue, so we are going to give 1 point to both of these devices. Now let's do some other comparisons. Okay, now let's compare the lobby screen and see which screen is more sharper and cleaner as compared to the other one. So if we look on the iOS screen, you can see the character is a lot clearer and we can't see any pixel on the screen. Even if we zoom in all the way to his face, we can't see a single pixel on the screen. However, if we do it the same with Android, you can see without zooming in, we can clearly see some pixels on the screen. And if we do a little zoom in, you can see there are a lot of pixels and the quality of this character is a lot lower as compared to the iOS. However, keep in mind the difference with the benchmark was only 20 to 30% and the difference with the game is a lot as compared to the benchmarks. So for this, 1 point goes to iOS and the 0 point goes to Android. Now let's compare some camos. First, let's do the comparison for gold camo. So if we look on the iOS, you can see the camo looks a lot cleaner. We can see all the details on the screen and we can even see the lines on the mag as well and the lightning on the back of the gun, and everything is a lot cleaner. I mean, it looked like a finished product, right? Now let's move to the Android, and for Android it simply looks like that someone has just pointed a flashlight on it and it looks a lot brighter and there is a lot less details as compared to the iOS one. If we compare both side by side, you can see the difference is huge. We can't see the mag lines on Android and we can clearly see the lines on iOS. So this point also goes to iOS. Now let's compare platinum camo. Now let's go here and the platinum camo, first of all, let's have a look on iOS. So you can see platinum camo is the combination of two colors. One is a little bit lighter and one is a little bit darker. So you can see, we can clearly see the difference in colors. We can see all the details on the gun. We can even see the smart details on the guns. Now let's move on the Android. On Android, we can't see any detail. The gun has only one color and there isn't any lines on the mag just like for the gold camo. And there aren't any other details as well. If we do the side-by-side comparison, you can see the detailed difference between these two devices. So this point also goes to iOS as well. Now let's have a look on Orion camo comparison. Orion is an animated camo, so we can see a lot more difference here. So first of all, let's have a look on iOS. So here you can see on iOS, we can clearly see the animation and the animation is a lot cleaner and a lot cooler if you ask me. We can clearly see all the differences in the lightning, all that. We can even see the color difference in iOS as well. Now let's head towards the Android. For Android, it look a lot cheaper. I mean, it look a lot bad. If we compare these two camos, it feels like we are comparing a 1080 video with a 144 video. You can see the difference is huge. The iOS one is a lot cleaner, sharper and clear as compared to Android. It is a lot blurrier and you can't see all the colors and you can't see the sharpness as well, and it doesn't look that cool. So this point also goes to iOS. Now let's compare polyatomic camo. For iOS, you can see this looks a lot cleaner. You can see all those triangles on the screen and all those animations and texture. Everything is a lot cleaner just like every other camo on iOS. And when we head toward Android, we can't see the triangles clearly. You can see if we do a comparison on iOS, we can see all the triangles very clearly. We can see the color difference quite easily. But for Android, we can't see the color difference. The triangles on the camo aren't as clear as on iOS. The difference between coloring is a lot as well. So this point also goes to iOS. At this point, I am not even surprised. This shows how much there is a graphic difference between iOS and Android. Besides that, let's jump into the gameplay and see how much there is a difference between iOS and Android. Okay guys, so first of all, we are going to do the FPS test on our iOS and then we are going to do the FPS test on our Android. So for iOS, you can see the FPS meter on the top and let's see how much FPS we will getting inside the game. However, if you are wondering why we are getting only 30 FPS, it is because in Season 4, Warzone Mobile has restricted us to 30 FPS which means that doesn't matter how good of a device you have, you will only get 30 FPS in Warzone Mobile. But we are still going to test and see which device gives us constant FPS as compared to the other one. Now let's start a match and let's see how much FPS we will get. Okay guys, so after waiting for a few seconds, we are finally inside the match, and after entering the match, we are still getting 30 FPS constantly, which is quite nice. And now let's wait for the match to begin. Our graphic looks nice. We can't see any grains or any pixels on the screen. The graphics look sharper and clear, and we are still getting 30 FPS, which is kind of nice. I think we should go in the open, because when you are in the open, we see a drastic FPS drop. In normal devices, let's see if we will see the same FPS drop in iOS or not. Okay guys, so finally we are in an open kinda, and we are still getting 30 FPS constantly. You can see the line is total flat, and we haven't seen a single FPS drop until now, which is quite nice if you ask me. Let's play for a few more minutes and let's see if we get any FPS drop or not. Okay, so after playing for a few minutes, we have noticed that in iOS we will get constant FPS no matter what, which is kinda nice, and let's see how it will go with Android. Okay guys, so finally we are on our Android device, and in the lobby we are getting 30 FPS in Android as well. Let's see how these FPS will do inside the match. So let's start the match. Okay guys, so finally we are inside the match, and we are getting some good FPS. We are getting constant 27-28 FPS, which is kinda nice. And we are still getting 30 FPS. Let's play for a few minutes and then we will see if we are getting any FPS drop or not. So in the plain animation we are getting 16 FPS, which is kind of bad, because for iOS we started to get 60 FPS. Okay, now we are again back to 30 FPS. Again 21. I mean, we are not getting constant FPS, but it is kind of okay, because this device is 30% less powerful than our iPad according to benchmark. Okay, so here we see some FPS drop. We are at 23 FPS, 25 again. And our device started to heat up a lot. You can see we are at 44 temperature. Let's see if we can get this person. He just disappeared somehow. We are getting constant 24-25 FPS, which is nice for this device. However, if you go for graphics, then the graphics looks a lot bad as compared to iOS. iOS graphics were a lot sharper, but Android graphics are a lot blurrier, and you can see all the pixels on the screen and all that stuff. And you can see the walls are also blurrier. You can see here. So if we go for graphics, then the graphic points goes to iOS. But if you go to FPS, then I think we should give 1 point to both, because Android is keeping up with iOS as well. We are getting constant 30 FPS with some frame drops, but overall it's kinda okay. But I was expecting at least 15 FPS, but we are getting 27-30 FPS, which is kinda nice. Okay, when fighting with an enemy, our FPS dropped to 20, 21, 22. Okay, now we are not getting 30 FPS because we are only getting 20-22 FPS, so which is kind of not that good. But the overall FPS isn't as bad, and if you are inside the building, then you will get constant 30 FPS, as you can see on the screen right now. So the conclusion is that overall iOS is a lot better than Android as compared to graphics, but if you go for FPS, then Warzone Mobile has did a better job for making the FPS playable on Android as well. So that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.